Captain Bill Safe III. Here's the tip. You know, in a lot of our brown trout videos, we're dealing with turbid water conditions when we've got sediment up in the water column, and we're trying to revamp the typical baits in our Michigan stinger pattern that we would run along the shoreline of Lake Ontario to be successful. So I thought maybe in today's segment what we would do is concentrate on the natural colors that are going to work best in clear water. But here's what you're going to be faced with. You're going to need natural colored bait so that the presentation is right, but you also have to assume, because there's no sediment in the water column and they're not hunting as effectively, that the brown trout bite's going to be a bit more fickle. So part of the segment is talking about how we force feed these fish and end up with limits of browns when most people are catching 2, 3, 4 fish at tops. So let's examine the baits to begin with. If we come right up here on this rod, you got a Sodas Point Buckeye with a gold back. Now, I just said, hey, we got to have natural baits here, and you're probably thinking, what's natural about that orange? That's the one bait in the pattern that gets loaded on at least one of the 8 rods every single day, because when that bait is hot, it's hotter than a $2 pistol, and it's what we refer to as a dual purpose bait. It'll cross over in turbid conditions or clear conditions. So you've always got to have this Sodas Point Buckeye loaded in the pattern. If we look at rod number 2, we're going with the Black Widow. Now, we've talked about how tuxedos, alewives will do the same kind of thing that this Black Widow will do, but again, if your conditions change, you've got the opportunity of this continuing to be a high-vis bait because of the cracked ice glow ladder back that's on the back of this, but still a quality natural pattern spoon. We come in here on rod number 3, one of my all-time favorites in the stinger lineup. This one's the Perch. We always refer to it as gold perch because it's built on a gold blank, but very natural pattern with brown trout eating the round goby minnows and what have you in the early spring in Lake Ontario. That perch color just always seems to be a hot one, so we've got that up on the rod pattern in clear conditions. You know, here's the one that does it all, the spoon that does it all on Lake Ontario, especially in clear conditions, the Caddyshack. This is a spoon we developed in 2015. It's got the purple, the blue, the chartreuse on a holographic insert here on top of the back of the spoon. This is very, very dynamic spoon for any browns in clear water. If we've got to swing one out, generally what our swing bait's going to be is a Fat Nancy with the green and the chartreuse ladder back. Again, black silver, basic combinations that are natural. Well, how do we get these browns to hit? I can think of a couple instances last year where nobody was catching browns. We didn't catch a lot, but we still did 12 or 13. And I'm going to walk right up here on the dash of the boat, and I'm going to show you one of our keys and secrets to success. You're going to think we're absolutely crazy, but this is the truth. On each one of my boats, we carry some fit-over polarized sunglasses, like what we've got here, and we just leave them on the dash. In those clear conditions last year, when the bite got fickle and we couldn't get those browns to take, we were seeing browns in waters that were under 10 feet. So what I would do is put these fit overs on my anglers like this. One guy would stand on the starboard side of the boat, the other guy would stand on the port side of the boat, and we would look for browns coming down the shoreline. When they would see a brown, they'd say, Bill, there's 3 browns. They're 20 yards off the right side of the boat, just in front of the planer board line. So I'd speed the boat up. When I thought the baits were close to those fish where they could see them, I'd pull that boat out of gear, let the spoons drift down in the water column, then bump it in gear, race away from the presentation. Kings want a flat, even presentation with no variation in the bait, but lake trout and brown trout will ignite on the strike when you get a variance in the attitude of that particular trolling bait, whether it's a plug or it's a spoon. So always remember that. The other thing I noticed was all the other boats were going down the shoreline in a straight line. We'll swing an S pattern the entire time we're trolling in those clear water conditions. And the reason is we're speeding up the outside baits, we're letting the inside baits lull. Then we change the direction, we speed up the inside baits, the outside baits lull. That variation in presentation are what trigger strikes, and that's what we refer to in the Safe Charter Fleet as force feeding the browns. We constantly, when we're sitting at the helm, watch the tips of the weight rods that are out the side of the boat. This Caddyshack will be in this position, and we key on the tip of that rod. If we see the tip of that rod bump even once or twice, like a fish has come in and nosed the bait but maybe didn't get it, instantly pull the boat into neutral, let the bait flutter back down. Watch it, boys, watch it. Lots of times, even before I engage the boat again, that fish will pick it up and take a rip on the bait. If it doesn't, I'll pop it in gear, and if we're lulled down to 1.8, 1.9 knots, I'll run it right up to 3 knots. As that spoon starts to chase away in the water column, those big browns will come right in and tag it. Those little things are what go into making sure that you're taking a limit of browns each and every day that you come on Lake Ontario. Force feed them, use the Polaroids, troll an S pattern, do everything that you possibly can to engage those browns and create a strike situation when you're fishing the shoreline in the spring. I'm Captain Bill Safe III. That's your tip on how to force feed brown trout. Got my old buddy Jeff McDowell, spent about 10 years fishing the South Shore with me here out of Peeville. Big bend in the rod, he said it's a good fish. He should know he's had some big Atlantics, Kings, browns on. Go ahead and clear that weight rod, Dave. Be careful, look to see if it's above this or underneath it. Okay, go underneath, Jeff. We're gonna work this do-si-do. I got Captain Dave Zingari with me today here. He's clearing everything on the boat. Anytime we get a big fish like this, Dave, what do we do?
Clear rods, get an open spot so we can get the fish in with no problem.
That's right. You know, everybody spends a lot of money to come to Lake Ontario and fish, and we'll just would rather move those rods out of the way, work a little bit harder, but be sure that we get that fish in the boat for them. It's one of the main reasons that we run a spoon pattern for big browns. We like those Michigan Stingers. We like the VMC hooks that are on them. You get a big brown on and you hang them. You're good to go anywhere you want now, Jeff. And you can play them into the left corner if you want. Look at the bend of this rod.
I'm not playing them anywhere.
Go right over into this corner with them. Let's go all the way. Dave, pull that silver net. Dave's pulling that net. I'm going to watch right down the spine of the rod. What's going to happen here is Jeff's going to move up the left side and Dave will be in between him and the fish when the time comes. How's he feeling, buddy?
He's heavy, Billy. He's heavy.
We got a good brown here. I'm going to swing this side, Dave. I'll let you in when the time comes.
Haven't seen him yet, but there's a real good bend in the rod.
And he hit weight rod, didn't he, Dave?
Chains up, yeah, weight rod.
Okay, this is the Sodas Point buckhead. Okay, Dave, slide up the side, Jeff. Dave's going to get in between you and the fish, and I'm going to be right over here. You got another one on right here. Can't fake the action. Look at it right here. Here's another rod just struck. We're going to wait on that. Just hold on to him, Jimmy. Hold on. Okay, easy. Okay. Beautiful. Big brown. Wind down to him, Dave. Easy. Ooh. Okay, nice job. Watch on the metal. Nice big. Get him, Dave. Good job. Strip a little line to him, Jeff. Off in the net. Giant brown. Hold on a second.
Look at the color on
Here's a look at this gorgeous football in really fall colors, Jeff. You know, sometimes we get them, they're just silver as a nickel here on Lake Ontario, but you've been doing this deal for 25 years with me. What's cool about the spring of the year?
You know, the spring, Billy, there's a lot of action, a lot of different species. You know, we've had hits over the years where we've had a brown, Atlantic, steelhead, all on one pass, hit after hit. Just depends on what the color of the water's doing. I mean, this is the most colorful brown I've ever caught. And like you said, it's the more fall colors, because we do see a lot of the silverish stuff coming out of the spring. You know, we talk a lot about cookie cutters, but today is definitely not a cookie cutter day. This is probably a 10-pound plus fish.
Yeah. I was going to say someplace between 8 and 10, and you know, we did a fish cleaning segment at the dock there yesterday, and we were talking about the condition. And if you look at the belly of this fish, you can tell that the temperatures for the 5th of April are advanced, and these fish have been on the feed, so they're in good condition to be caught right now.
Right. This is probably the warmest water we've seen this early. Usually we're looking at 38 to 41 degrees.
And here comes another one right now, Jimmy Broy. And there's a perfect example. As dark, watch your rod tip please, as dark as that fish is, look how silver this brown is, and they're coming one right after another. All we had to do is get in a little warm water spike, and it's action like you can't believe it.
Good to be back, Billy. Good to be back.
Good job, buddy boy.
Thanks, Pat.